The movie begins in a California home, where we see a young girl who lies restlessly in her bed. As she tosses and turns, suddenly, the closet door creaks open, casting a foreboding red light into the room. She sits up in bed and looks at the strange phenomena by her bedside. Unable to sit tight any longer, she flees, clutching her cherished toy horse tightly. Later, while playing outside, she spots the same ominous red glow emanating from the window of her room. The window looks like a computer screen having some kind of glitch. Intrigued and curious, she ventures back inside to investigate. The security alarm picks up her movement, and her mother's voice beckons her to the room. It seems that the entire house is laden with technology. However, as she approaches the third floor and enters her bedroom, the door closes shut behind her. She once again sees the red glow emanating from her closet with the same glitch. There, she hears her mother's once familiar voice transform into something sinister. As she approaches to have a closer look, she is sucked inside. Soon after, the security system declares that all is well, seemingly content. Poor baby. Sometime later, we see Julia, a real estate agent, guiding Eva and Miguel through a tour of the same house. She mentions that the entire house comes fully furnished, making it a convenient choice for their move from Mexico City. The entire house is laden with modern technology and top-grade appliances. Julia informs them that the previous occupants fled, and she wants to ensure Eva and Miguel are genuinely interested in the property. Miguel assures her that they are ready to move in right away, but would like to revisit the second floor before making a final decision. The couple goes upstairs, and the husband tries his best to convince his wife into sealing the deal since he likes it and he thinks it would be safe. Eva is a bit skeptical but eventually gives in and they embrace. Meanwhile, downstairs, we see Julia secretly monitoring them through the security system cameras in a phone. She becomes aware of Eva's concerns about safety and the feeling that the house is too spacious for just the two of them. In response, Miguel assures her that the neighborhood is safe and that they can start expanding their family immediately. As the couple descends back downstairs, Julia discloses that the house is equipped with Diablo controls, an advanced security system that offers complete control over every aspect of the house. It seamlessly integrates with their devices, enabling them to monitor their home effortlessly. They can use this technology to not only monitor but control all the technology such as the temperature, lights, etc. After the house tour, as the realtor secures the property, Diablo notifies her of motion detected on the second floor. She calls out to the couple, but nobody seems to hear her voice. As she goes a little up the stairs, she gets extremely terrified when she sees a strange, bizarre sight. Overwhelmed, the woman rushes out of the house. After her departure, the eerie voice of the machine echoes throughout the empty house, saying that everything is clear. Creepy. Meanwhile, various newspapers carry headlines about the recent heinous actions of El Diablo, a notorious serial murderer from Mexico. His gruesome crimes have garnered widespread attention, with only one survivor known to have escaped his clutches. True to their promise, the couple wastes no time moving in, and just like they said, the first thing they use is indeed the twin bathtub. However, their peaceful moment together is disrupted as Miguel's phone repeatedly receives text messages while they're trying to relax in the bath. Annoyed by the interruption, Eva questions the identity of the texter. Miguel sighs and half-heartedly explains that he's expected at a client dinner in Mexico tonight. Initially, the woman dislikes the idea of being left alone in their new home, but she eventually concedes, agreeing to stay in California for her own safety. There seems to be some kind of mysterious tension regarding their move. Later, Miguel rushes down the stairs, anxious not to miss his flight. He informs his wife that a Diablo control technician will come by tomorrow to teach her how to operate the alarm system. Eva, determined to reassure him, insists that she feels safe and gives him a loving goodbye kiss. All alone in her new home, Eva takes this opportunity to unwind. As the day unfolds, Eva begins to explore the house and stumbles upon the Diablo control room. She closes the door and explores further to come across the little girl's cherished toy, abandoned in the bedroom closet. That night, while engrossed watching TV, she's startled by a sudden thud outside. Anxious and cautious, she activates the alarm system, only to realize she doesn't know the passcode. With growing unease, Eva tries to contact customer service for assistance, but the lines are busy. The automated message keeps telling her that an agent would be available in the next 6 minutes, but to no avail. Frustrated by the prolonged wait, she cancels the call and reaches out to Miguel instead, leaving him a heartfelt message about her fear of spending her first night alone. Disturbingly, Eva's call is being monitored by Diablo. This creepy technology is recording her movements, her heartbeat, and probably every freaking cell in her body. How can people feel secure with such a level of security? The following morning, she's abruptly awakened by an alarm at 6 a.m. and decides to kickstart her day with a swim. Her morning routine takes an unexpected turn when Ray, the Diablo technician, appears before the swimming pool unannounced. The poor woman gets startled, as she should, and calls out the man for his strange behavior. Ray explains that he had tried to call but received no response, so he thought about stopping by at the property to look. Eva, somewhat flustered, directs him to wait by the control panel while she dries off. At the front door, Ray guides Eva through the process of setting up her passcode and syncs her phone with the rest of the system. The technician also suggests enabling advanced features like biometrics, but Eva opts to keep things simple with the basic functionality. Ray returns her phone and explains that the system employs AI technology designed to adapt to her habits over time. He assures her that the system can manage most aspects of the house and will notify her of any detected motion. However, after seeing her worried expression, he reassures her that such alerts are rarely needed in her peaceful neighborhood. After the agent leaves, Eva finally has a quiet alone time in her backyard by the pool. That night, as the clock ticks past bedtime, Diablo autonomously adjusts the blinds and dims the lights. As the woman sleeps, we see Diablo monitoring the surroundings in a strange glitchy shadow making its way around the house. At 2:37 a.m., Eva is rudely awakened by Diablo's warning, sensing an unsettling presence in the hallway. With a mix of trepidation and curiosity, she ventures out to investigate but finds nothing amiss. Eventually, the system declares the situation to be clear, leaving Eva with more questions than answers. The following day, Diablo again wakes Eva up at 6 in the morning. The woman gets extremely pissed, curses at the security system and decides to get some more sleep. Later, Miguel calls, explaining his hectic schedule. Eva assures him that everything is running smoothly in the house, and she feels secure. She tells him all about her plans for the day, and also mentions that she is planning to go for a jog around the neighborhood after their call. In a bit of a distracted moment, she opens the door, inadvertently triggering the alarm, which draws the attention of their neighbor, Nancy. Eva quickly turns off the alarm and apologizes to the woman. Before setting off for the jog, she grapples with the stubborn alarm system, growing increasingly frustrated. Eventually, she leaves it disarmed and continues her run. During her jog, Eva receives an alert indicating motion at the front door, causing her to cut her run short. When she is back, she finds the door slightly ajar and cautiously peeks inside. Before she can see clearly, she is surprised by Nancy's presence beside her front door. Nancy extends a warm welcome to her with a plate of cookies and suggests that Eva join the Neighbor Network, a local community platform. Eva impatiently listens and then politely excuses herself as she is still concerned about potential intruders in her house. Once inside, Eva embarks on an investigation. She cautiously monitors the ground floor, but when she ascends, she hears a crash from downstairs. The security system mentions that the motion is from the kitchen. Arming herself with a golf club, she runs downstairs, only to discover it was just a broken mug in the kitchen. Intrigued, she reviews the security footage and notices that the mug had fallen on its own. Determined to uncover the truth, Eva examines the footage more closely and observes a peculiar anomaly. Her package had been delivered at 9:42, yet the alarm was triggered at 9:48. Her curiosity piqued. She delves into what occurred at 9:48 and is taken aback by a glitched image moving toward the door. Later, Eva receives an email invitation to join the Neighbor Network. There, she stumbled upon footage of a break-in at another house. These videos make the poor woman scared to death. Suddenly, she hears the alarm going off about some motion detected and she almost jumps out of her skin. Soon, she hears the doorbell ringing. Eva opens it to find a flower delivery from Miguel. Happy at the affectionate gesture, Eva temporarily forgets all her other worries. Sometimes later, we see Eva relaxing in the pool. Unbeknownst to her, Diablo begins downloading additional unsettling videos like the break-ins that she watched earlier. That night, her inbox is flooded with videos depicting trespassing incidents in their neighborhood. The woman freaks out after watching them. Meanwhile, poor Miguel chooses that very moment to call and ask how she is doing. Eva relentlessly unleashes a tirade about the perceived lack of safety in their area. Miguel, exasperated, tries to reassure her, suggesting that websites like those were designed to make people overly paranoid. This somewhat calms Eva, but she isn't able to resist the urge to continue watching more of the unsettling videos after their conversation ends. That night, at 2 a.m., Eva is tormented by a nightmarish flashback that transports her back to a terrifying incident in their previous home. In the dream, a thunderous thud jolts her awake, and she musters the courage to investigate its source. To her horror, she finds herself face to face with the infamous serial killer, El Diablo, at her front door. This chilling memory triggers a devastating panic attack, causing Eva to crumble in distress on the bathroom floor. There, she cries herself to sleep. No wonder the family is so obsessed with security and a safe neighborhood. The following morning, Eva wakes up to the 6 a.m. alarm and finds herself on the bathroom floor. She urgently contacts her therapist, Dr. Olivares, seeking an emergency session. Attempting to ease her mind, she turns to yoga. But the nightmare's grip remains relentless and she keeps getting flashbacks. After a trip to the grocery store, Eva finally manages to connect with Dr. Olivares. She recounts her harrowing nightmare involving El Diablo, expressing her deep-seated fears and anxiety. Dr. Olivares offers assurance, reminding her that El Diablo has no reason to seek her out in California, and it's entirely normal to experience post-traumatic stress from such a traumatic event. Eva opens up about the overwhelming challenges of adjusting to a new environment and being alone. She also mentions feeling haunted by the ever-watchful alarm system and requests a return to medication. However, Dr. Olivares gently declines this request, emphasizing that their efforts to move away from medication are finally working, so it is better to remain this way. Instead, the therapist advises Eva to focus on maintaining her well-being through regular exercise, ensuring sufficient sleep, and maintaining a healthy diet. The doctor also suggests being mindful of factors that can trigger unsettling experiences, such as sleep deprivation, stress, and heightened paranoia. Additionally, she recommends avoiding caffeine, alcohol, and exposure to distressing images, as these can contribute to unwanted episodes. Following these guidelines should help prevent future occurrences. After their conversation, Eva expresses her gratitude to Dr. Olivares and ends the call. She takes a moment to inspect the cherished toy horse, finding a glimmer of comfort in its presence. Before heading to bed, Eva leaves a heartfelt message for Miguel, sharing her plans for a welcoming dinner upon his return home. Unbeknownst to Eva, Diablo continues to silently eavesdrop on her life. When Miguel calls back later, the call is mysteriously muted, and his voicemail regarding his extended work hours is erased, leaving Eva in the dark about his plans. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the glitch in the system causes the fridge to unexpectedly swing open, but Eva remains oblivious to this peculiar occurrence until the next morning. When she comes down after waking up, she finds all her groceries ruined. Cursing out, she's forced to make another trip to the store to replace the items needed for the planned dinner. That evening, when Miguel calls once more, Eva is furious to learn that he's extending his stay in Mexico for a couple more days, disregarding the doctor's advice. She turns to excessive drinking, spiraling into a heavy drinking spree. After a tumultuous mixture of ranting and raging her fury, the scorned wife eventually falls asleep on the couch. However, her slumber is abruptly interrupted by an alert indicating motion on the third floor. Oddly, the system now alerts her of movement on the second floor, and she spots someone outside surveying the area. Eva follows the mysterious figure, and they unexpectedly cross paths again in a dimly lit alley. To her relief, it turns out to be Ray, the Diablo technician. She immediately reports the intruder in her house, but Ray dismisses it as a system error. Ray explains that there's a neighborhood-wide outage, and he'll return in the morning to reset her system. Satisfied with his response, Eva finally comes back home and climbs into bed, but her troubled night is plagued by nightmares of El Diablo. She vividly recalls the traumatic memory of the intruder advancing towards her with a knife, only to flee upon hearing Miguel's arrival, leaving her in a state of profound distress. Unbeknownst to her, Diablo intercepts Eva's nightmare, analyzing it for its sinister purposes. How advanced is this AI to even be able to capture the footage of her dreams? The morning after, Eva wakes up as Ray arrives to reset the alarm system. Frustrated and rattled, she explains that the security system has been subjecting her to false alerts and glitchy camera footage. In response, Ray offers an explanation, stating that the previous tenants had a young girl, and occasionally her image might appear as artifacts due to the system's cache. Ray proceeds to clear the cache and reset the system, assuring Eva that everything should now function as intended. Later, Eva is once again plagued by yet another alert from the security system, and the persistent artifacting issue continues to frustrate her. Her attempts to contact customer service prove fruitless as the line remains perpetually busy. In a last-ditch effort for help, she turns to the neighbor network, inquiring if anyone else is experiencing problems with Diablo control. However, all she receives in response are glowing praises for the company's services. It must be the creepy AI breaching her security again. Despite her mounting struggle, Eva persists in her attempts to distress through exercise, but the haunting memories of El Diablo refuse to let go. In her desperation, she searches for her small Virgin Mary idol, only to discover it had been broken during the move. In a makeshift attempt at solace, she purchases a figurine of the Mexican Saint of Demise. That night, Eva stumbles upon a new revelation as she observes that Diablo malfunctions when she uses the microwave. Furthermore, she notices the artifacting issue occurring near the stairs. Intrigued and slightly unnerved, she decides to investigate further. To her astonishment, the camera footage captures a barely recognizable image of a little girl who scurries away as soon as the microwave stops. Shortly after, a sudden power outage plunges the house into darkness. Eva is terrified to discover the front door ajar. Her fear mounting, she cautiously ascends the stairs, only to be confronted by the ominous silhouette of a hooded figure. She gasps and the silhouette disappears just before the power unexpectedly returns. Shaken to her core, she hastily creates an altar for the saint and fervently prays. She offers alcohol as part of the ritual in a desperate attempt to ward off whatever malevolent force seems to be haunting her. Regrettably, her efforts prove futile as something continues to torment her throughout the night, casting a long shadow over her sense of safety and sanity. The next day, Eva is roused from her uneasy slumber by the familiar 6 a.m. alarm from the security system. She promptly contacts Dr. Olivares and recounts the hallucinations that plagued her the previous night. With a heavy heart, she also confesses to her consumption of alcohol, causing the doctor to contemplate the necessity of reintroducing medication into her treatment plan. Dr. Olivares suggests regular check-ins to monitor her progress, to which Eva agrees before ending the call. Afterward, Eva decides to take a soothing bath, attempting to regain a sense of normalcy. During her bath, she receives a message from Bob, a fellow neighbor network member, concerning their shared ordeal with Diablo control. Bob shares his own mounting concerns, admitting that he feels like he's losing his grip on reality. He invites Eva to discuss their shared issues. Following her bath, Eva ventures to Bob's home, but she quickly realizes that he regrets reaching out to her. Bob appears visibly distressed, revealing that he hasn't slept for days and is teetering on the brink of insanity. When pressed, he confides in Eva, revealing that Diablo is relentlessly. The man also has this premonition that the system is going to hurt him sooner or later. Before retreating back into his home, Bob implores his neighbor to abandon the house and never return, leaving Eva deeply unsettled. On her way back to her own residence, Eva encounters Nancy, their neighbor. During their conversation, Nancy inquires about Eva and Miguel's plans for starting a family, given the spaciousness of the house. Eva impatiently shares that they are indeed discussing it. In response, Nancy cryptically mentions that the previous tenants of the house had also planned to expand their family, before mysteriously disappearing. She reveals that nobody knows what happened to them, casting a shadow of unease over Eva's thoughts. Later, back inside the house, while using her laptop, Eva is startled by the blaring sirens and horns outside her window. She receives a notification on the neighbor network, revealing that Bob's house has caught fire, adding another layer of distress to her already troubled day. The man just recently confessed that a tragedy would soon befall him, and now it has come true. Seeking solace, Eva prays before retiring to her bed. However, her troubled night is marred by a terrifying nightmare induced by Diablo. The AI eerily synchronizes with her dream, manifesting a physical presence resembling El Diablo that pulls her blanket away, preventing her from obtaining the restful sleep she so desperately craved. The following day, Eva's mental state continues to deteriorate as she unravels further. She frantically confides in Dr. Olivares, recounting her meeting with Bob and his subsequent tragic death. She lays the blame squarely on the Diablo system, claiming that it has a trapped girl inside and is responsible for the unsettling events she's been experiencing. Though her words convey the truth, they come across as the ramblings of someone grappling with a severe mental disorder. Concerned for her patient, the doctor prescribes medication and suggests disabling the alarm system. However, Eva admits that she doesn't know how to do it herself. Fearing for her safety, she requests that Olivares relay her words to Miguel in case of any unforeseen events. Olivares offers reassurance, assuring Eva that she is safe. But in a chilling twist, the doctor's reassuring smile abruptly transforms into the visage of El Diablo, causing Eva to abruptly turn off the laptop and lash out Later, as Eva attempts to contact a pharmacist to obtain her prescription, she receives a threatening video from El Diablo on the neighbor network. Just then, Miguel calls with what he believes to be exciting news. El Diablo has been killed in a police shootout. Incredulous and determined to prove him wrong, Eva abruptly hangs up on Miguel, only to discover that the menacing message from El Diablo has mysteriously disappeared. Upon returning home that evening, Eva notices that the candles on her Santomware altar have been extinguished. She hastily rushes to revive the altar, disregarding the alarm system and prioritizing her ritual over taking her medication. She eventually takes the prescribed medication. Afterwards, she gets busy lighting the candles of the altar. Meanwhile, the alarm system keeps mentioning some motion detected. The voice starts distorting and transforms into a menacing tone. Eva utters a desperate whisper, acknowledging that if faith, meds, and alcohol can't save her, nothing can. As the constant motion detection alerts persist, Eva becomes increasingly defiant. She declares that this is her house and smashes the control panel in a final act of rebellion. Shortly after, she witnesses the terrifying apparition of El Diablo materializing upstairs. Filled with fear, she attempts to escape through the kitchen doors, only to find that all the doors are locked, trapping her inside. She is forced to confront her fears and take a stand. Grabbing a knife, she recites a fervent prayer and hides in a corner. As El Diablo approaches, Eva suddenly remembers that the microwave disrupts Diablo's functions. She hurls her knife inside the microwave and activates it, freezing the attacker momentarily. Seizing this opportunity, she uses the discarded knife to desperately fend off her unseen assailant. Realizing the futility of her efforts, Eva makes a bold move, rushing upstairs with the intention of disabling Diablo's power source and putting an end to this nightmarish ordeal once and for all. Before long, the microwave short-circuiting frees El Diablo from its frozen state. It materializes ominously next to Eva. The figure snatches the knife from the woman and is about to attack her, but she manages to unplug the power supply just in the nick of time. A sigh of relief escapes her lips as the menacing apparition disappears. She comes back downstairs and restores the altar. Clutching 2 candles, she heads upstairs. Unbeknownst to her, Diablo possesses a backup battery and reactivates itself, ready to continue its relentless. As Eva drifts into sleep, the candles are inexplicably extinguished, and El Diablo materializes once more in her bedroom. This time, however, it's not a mere nightmare. Eva experiences a horrifying reality as she is brutally attacked, and in an instant, she vanishes into a sudden burst of malevolent red light. The next day, Eva awakens, feeling strangely refreshed, just as Miguel arrives home. Overwhelmed by emotion, she rushes to greet him, attempting to embrace her husband. However, to her profound shock, she passes right through Miguel, who remains completely oblivious to her presence. In that heart-wrenching moment, Eva comes to a horrifying realization. She has become a part of Diablo's sinister system, her existence glitching away into the digital abyss, forever trapped in the clutches of an unholy abomination. Perhaps she would be the one tormenting the next family who settles into this hellish house.